All right, so our project, it's essentially a course, and it's a course that has a very different nature because it's very different from your average course here at the University of Connecticut. Number one, it's because it has a multidisciplinary aspect to it, in which we have people from different departments, and that's a fantastic thing. Darian, would you like to continue that?
Yeah, it's been really great. So one of the things that we are doing, our class is centered on reimagining the education system and being more critical about it, but also putting it into practice. So not just theorize, but also having a class space that is different, as she said. And also it's trying to connect the classroom with the community or communities and trying to bring more of their voices into our discussion, considering them when we're talking, and also going out to connect with them.
We were trying to really address the problem that institutionalized education has become, right, as an industry, which should not be about it. We believe as a group that education should be a collaborative process that really benefits the individual in a holistic manner through a humanistic approach.
Yeah, and there's also some real, because this is a graduate course, but we're including other students in the next iteration, but there's a real disconnect in the community and on the UConn's community and outside where people are feeling disconnected, and we feel that certain institutional impulses encourage that, and we want to try to do something to reconnect people and actually promote real learning. Like I was just talking with my students in my office hours about how he feels so much pressure. He's trying to get into the School of Engineering for computer science, and he had a 3.4 and it just raised at 3.5. So he's like, I don't know if I'm gonna get in, and I'm thinking like, yeah, you're no longer learning. Like, how can you learn if you can't fail?
True
right?
Story.
So now he feels all this pressure to get. He's like, I have to get straight A's so I can make sure my GPA goes up so I can get into this. But you see that that's passing a course is at odds with learning, and these are the kinds of problems that we think we need to bring people together to discuss. So behind the scenes, it's just that it's very different than what people are used to.
Yeah.
And so people were kind of having trouble. We had to like spell it out in terms that we didn't necessarily want to. We had to try to promise like outcomes that are antithetical to dialoguing, right? And letting other people get input. So we have to try to frame things in a way that we could say that here's an outcome or a deliverable, but still keep it open up that we could actually have real discussion, let that drive where we go. Okay. Well, one thing I'd add is just organizational wise, because it's democratic. We're trying to do it democratically, and the school system is structured more so that the teacher has the authority and sets things up. So we're trying to make so all the participants are deciding what we do. We're arranging speakers. We're deciding how we're going to be evaluated, and that all takes time. Time that gets in the way of some of these other things, and so oftentimes it's been a bit difficult but worthwhile to try to get everyone's consensus on things, because someone's like, well, I can't come today because I got to do this and that, or oh, I couldn't read my email because I got like 10 other emails, so then this other thing that we're trying to do is held up. And so I think trying to negotiate how we organize things, and different people put one thing in one folder and then another folder.
We're learning.
Yeah, we're learning together, which I think is different than the traditional teacher model where they like, here's the folder, here's what I like, here's how I do it. And that does help it move smoother, but this has its own virtues.
I think that the most surprising thing to me, because I'm an international student and I come from a very different background. I'm from Brazil, so, it's a little different. I think that the biggest surprise to me was that some people were resisting the change. Because in my mind, the change was something extremely positive that people would just embrace immediately. But like at first, on the very first class, I felt some resistance coming from different people. There's no way I can blame them for that, right? Because it's just much bigger than all of us. Like the system, the reinforcement through the school system, and all of that, right?
Darian said, like, the system is already conditioning you to, act a certain way and receive instructions instead of sitting at a round table and be like, okay, let's talk about our syllabus. What do we want to read? What do we want to engage with? So it's more a resistance almost instinctive. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like instinctive resistance.
Whoa, I have power over what we're going to do.
That creates anxiety. It's been a great amount of help. I think that Brendan Kane has been very, very supportive. I think that he has. I think a lot of people wouldn't fund what we're doing.
Wow.
Yeah, they wouldn't think that this is what, especially the investment. This is a pretty substantial investment they've given us. I think a lot of people wouldn't just give that to us to do what we're doing. And the fact that he's kind of saying, "Hey, you go and build something, build something, create something," and as long as it's enduring, which is what we wanted anyway. I think that's been really, really good. I think the training retreats were really good for connecting with others and seeing what other people were doing. And one of our dialogue model about that's based on like telling your educational space, it came out of the retreat.
Improv.
Yeah, we kind of put it together because they were like, "Hey, you need a dialogue model." We're like, "Well, why don't we just talk about what we've already been doing?" So there's been a lot of good support and help, and like getting the Dodd Center and for our speakers and all kind of stuff like that. So it's been really good for giving us the institutional support we need to make this happen.
Right.